We are back. Welcome to the latest episode of Saturday's Night Live, and here we go. BYU taking it to Portland State, and that's not why we're excited. We expected BYU to win. We expected BYU to win big, but BYU looked good, clicking on all cylinders, even after taking starters out. Continued to score, continued to put pressure onto Portland State, and looked really good all around. Now, we can't take too much stock out of this, learn too much, but man, did Bear look solid. He looked poised. He made some difficult throws and just really looked sharp out there tonight and gave BYU a lot to be excited about. Again, you can only take so much from a win against a team like this, but boy, this went completely differently than in 2017 against Portland State. And instead of coming away with from the game with a lot of question marks, we're coming away thinking, okay, this team, yeah, there's probably some things that can clean up, but really, really looking good. And what now? I mean, you feel good that BYU wins big. Feel a little dirty with the way it shakes out. Really beating down this other team. That doesn't feel great. That's not ideal. These games, FCS, I don't think should be part of the schedule. I completely agree with Jake Hatch's take on this, that make this part of spring practice, make this part of fall, whatever, move it, still give them their payday, but do not make it an official part of the schedule. Having said that, this went really well. Perfect way to break in a freshman quarterback. And what a win. What an exciting way to start the season. About as good as it could go without, in a game like this. This is what you want to see. And I was afraid they would really call off the Dogs, and they kind of did, but it didn't matter. And BYU was able to keep scoring. So anyway, we're going to talk about that some more tonight. We're going to break down BYU, some of our thoughts from the game, but also go around the Big 12 and college football and some of the thoughts from week 1 and week 0 as well. So before we do that, please give this video a like, subscribe to the channel. We're going to do this every Saturday after the games. We are going to go live, react to this, and we want your comments, your feedback. Join with us and let us know your take on the game, win or lose, rain or shine. We'll be here. And also, we'll follow up on Mondays. Adam and I will go through, probably discuss the game a little bit more in depth, make our picks for the upcoming week and across the Big 12. And then we'll also bring on guests throughout the weeks from the opposing fan bases. So getting those lined up now for each of our opponents, and got a lot of fun, insightful conversations lined up. So again, like, subscribe, but let's get to it now. Man, I'm kind of curious. Let me know in the comments what your biggest takeaway was. Obviously, there's going to be a lot of focus on Bear with this being his first game, obviously being the first ever freshman to start BYU season, and really looking sharp in it. I was really pleased with what we saw. At first, he looked a little shaky, but the whole team did. So I didn't think he did anything terrible, but just wasn't completely on point. But man, once they got things going, he just really looked settled in and made some great throws. Not perfect, but by any means throughout the night, but certainly I think showed us that why he was QB1 coming out of camp. So, okay, we got our first comment here. We got 1-2 says largest shutout and second highest margin of victory in BYU history, and record tying long field goal of 56 yards. Not bad. Not bad at all. The defense was locked down. It made me a little nervous early in the game when they were picking up some first downs and moving the ball a little bit. But boy, that defense came through. But I was at the BYU UCLA game, and that was a blast because that was going up against a power, probably 6 at the time, team. and this was, UCLA hadn't been great, but they just hired their new coach and were supposed to be back, and BYU shut that down pretty quickly and pretty thoroughly. And so, you normally, like, on the little guys, it's not so fun to see them get beat down so much, but I wasn't so focused on them. I was focused on what BYU was able to do and what the individual players showed us. I wanted to see them get involved, and I think we were able to see that. So, big historic night for BYU. I mean, winning 69-0. I think I saw from Jerem Jordan that the scoreagami. So that's a score that BYU had never had before in its history, and really, I was really worried that this was going to be a game where maybe we come out to a slow start because Bears freshman, he's young, which we did, and didn't put up as many points, and then you call off the Dogs in the second half, and you end up winning, like, I don't know, 38-0, and which doesn't look great when they, Tarleton State had a better score line the previous week. So that didn't happen, despite putting in, second, third, fourth stringers into the game. BYU just kept piling on. And so a lot of fun. And talking about Will Ferrin, that's huge. I'd like to see him. I almost would have liked him to take a delay of game just to give him a shot to break that record, because I think 5 more yards, it would have been close, but I don't know. So obviously you take the points, and he's there in the record books, and I think he's going to have his chance to do that throughout the season. So let's see. 1, 2, all 4 QBs got snaps and did well, but real test won't be until next week. Yeah, obviously, this was not the stiffest competition, but it's good to see good things from each of them. And I think we did, which is really good. I think Bourget, it's something that stands out to me is, when he was running with it, he had, more wheels on him than we were kind of led to believe, and didn't go down easily. So I love that. Hillstead I felt like he looked in control of the offense, and what were his stats? Yeah, 4 of 5. So, and he even had some rushing yards there. 23 yards on 2 carries. So, I think there's a lot of promise there from each of those guys. So I was pretty pleased with that. But obviously the focus is on Bear, with him being the starter and the presumed future of the program. You want to see him come out with a hot start. And so I think this is a great warm-up game. Now, Stanford also is not going to be the stiffest of competition. So this should be another game that BYU has a chance to go up against better athletes. They'll probably be bigger, more athletic. These guys are still P4 caliber athletes that you're going up against. So it will be a tougher test, and see how they do with that. And then that bye week, which I was not excited about after week 2, is probably a good thing. You give them 1 more week to continue to prepare. It's nice that it's right before the trip going to the East Coast, and so they can get out there early, get acclimated, and you kind of ramping up the season, and then go up against ECU. I don't think that's a gimme game at all, but it is obviously a winnable game, and more winnable than some of the others on our schedule. And so you have to feel really good about the way things are lining up for BYU right now, especially with the way they look tonight. And you think, even when the offense is struggling, that defense is going to really keep BYU in any game. And then you think of special teams as well. The ability, now Parker Kingston never really got loose tonight, but he still had a couple good returns. I mean, you think back to Hobbs Nyberg, and boy, he was sure-handed, but I don't think he ever moved a single yard forward. But yeah, I mean, Kingston, he wanted the one. You saw him chase down the ball and pick it up, and I think probably everyone in the stands all had the same thought, that we might be seeing another K-State return. Didn't happen. But you feel like there is the ability there to flip position, and that you had the block kick, which was huge, obviously, and kind of ignited the team from that point. So again, this BYU team or the offense showed that they have a lot of weapons. I'm glad to see them get a lot of different guys involved, and but even if and when the offense struggles a bit throughout the season, I feel really good about this defense. I feel like Jay Hill is doing his thing; he's cooking, and the special teams to continue to keep the team in it. So I'm wondering, from everybody aside from Bear Bachmeier, who else from the team, let's do offense and defense, stood out to you, and who has you most excited? I'll say one that stood out to me big time was LJ Martin. And this isn't a surprise. Everybody expects big things from LJ Martin. We expect him to be really good as long as he can stay healthy. But when he got out there, that first time he touched the ball, and I saw him, I had assumed LJ would be starting the game, but it just didn't look like LJ. He has filled out, and I had heard that he'd filled out. He's looking bigger, and boy, he's a bruiser. I mean, people had a hard time, or Portland State had a hard time bringing him down, and just delivering blows, but also his vision, ability to make that cut and go. Had some great moments tonight, and 130 yards is really good. Kind of wanted to see him pile it on a little bit more. Of course, you don't want him to get injured. You'd much rather keep him healthy, but really like to see him get north and well north of 1,000 yards this season. And so want to see him get a little bit more in this game to kind of pad that stat. But I was really impressed with LJ and really the run game in general. And so that's, going to the O-line. Again, this is against Portland State. They really seem to dominate the line of scrimmage and the entire night, but makes you feel good that you're able to get the run game going like that. Is a good sign here early. So again, what players stood out to you? And excited or interested to hear other people's takes on that. Before we can I find everything? I want to go to some tweets here from the night. Let's pull this up here. First, I go around the conference and just look at Jake, not the conference, the around college football, and just firstly with Jake Retzlaff and Tulane. It was fun watching him do his thing, and this is something that I think an element that I really like of Jake Retzlaff's game is he has that ability to run. And he looked really fast here in this highlight, in this touchdown, but just he really had a knack for knowing when he could pull and run and really picking up some chunk yards there. And obviously does a lot more than that with a 69-yard touchdown. So really, excited for him, be watching Green Wave this year and seeing how they do. But I was thinking, I saw this as like, this is an element that we may miss a lot this season without Jake at quarterback. And I know Bear is supposed to be able to run and that he's a tough runner, but Jake has a really good feel for it. But Bear looked really good tonight too. He didn't, obviously go off for 69 yards, but there was a couple times where he, tucked and he saw the opportunity and he went for it. And he is fearless. Like, he was just confident and went for it. And you gotta love that. And again, I think it goes to what the coaching staff was saying before the season, and when they're talking about the pros and cons of the different quarterbacks, and they're saying Hillstead didn't take enough chances, didn't push it enough, which was implying that Bear did. And you see that in the way that he was willing to just go for it. And I love that from him. Let's see. Retzlaff. Oops, I got this open a couple times. I had, this right here. just saying that he's really missing Chase Roberts right now. I mean, yeah, no kidding. That the most perfect throw? No, but that was a throw that guy should have had. Yeah, he had to go down for it, but it was going away from the defender. And yeah, that's one that we've seen Chase Roberts make from Retzlaff a number of times, so many times. So it's all right. It's all right. Uh, they had a great outing nonetheless. But all right. So let's see what else from around college football. And I'll pull up some other. Actually, before we start going around, I've got some other highlights here from BYU. Let's pull these up. So this one, as I was talking about, he was able to run that in, and that wasn't a design run, and he just saw the opportunity and went for it. And you saw the way he just plowed through at the end, not afraid of taking some contact. And we saw that from his high school clips of him just bowling guys over. But this is different. He's going up against a bunch of bigger guys than in high school, and nonetheless, he just went for it and showed his fearlessness and his decisiveness. What a play. I really like that one. Here's another one. Let's see. Oh, yeah. He told this is a great one. I'm surprised they went into their bag of tricks for this game, because that's one you'd expect to see from BYU. I wouldn't be surprised if we saw it again later in the season. Obviously, they'll use it sparingly, but was really surprised to see him pull it out in this. But it was a fun one. Had me guessing. And yeah, he just, again, Bachmeier just looked confident in running that. So a lot of fun there. And then let's see, which one is this? Oh, man. I was talking about this earlier, alluding to it, but man, just nobody can take Martin down. He's just, look at this, carrying the whole Portland State defense with him. And then he had the other one later in the game where, he was so close to getting all the way, and he was going to take that to the house, but good hustle from the defender, missed the initial tackle, but as he went down, was able to hook his legs, and you could tell LJ wanted that, and he'll get more. He'll have his turn, but what a run. This was, for me, the most exciting play of the night, just watching him just plow through all those guys. Pretty awesome. But okay, so let's talk a little. I mean, I don't know how much we can parse this. We'll get into it more on Monday with Adam, and we'll break it down. But those were some of my favorite plays. It was great just to see a lot of guys. We saw Carson Ryan a little bit. Would have loved to seen a little bit more of him, and then they were trying to get. Let's see. They're trying to get Chase Roberts that touchdown early, and they got it. But there were some other times trying to get him involved, and those passes were not completely on. But so I don't know if that's a sign of chemistry between the two, or is just, that's how those plays worked out or whatever. I wouldn't read too much into that at this point. I expect Chase and Bear to connect plenty. Would love to see Tiger in there a bit and see how that goes. Okay, so let's go on to around the Big 12 a little bit through the weekend. And I don't think I've got week 0 on here, but let's focus on this week here. All right, so Kansas was good, 46-7. That's kind of what I expected from BYU tonight. Baylor Auburn, wasn't able to catch any of that game. Very disappointing to see Baylor come up flat. They're at home, so I was hoping that that would go a little bit differently for Baylor, that they'd be able to come out, because what I'm afraid of is, because I do think Baylor is a good team and they will be a good team. Now, how good Auburn is, I guess we'll see. I don't know if this, what this game really tells us. Not a lot at this point. We'll be able to look at it through hindsight later in the season. But what I think is going to happen, could happen, is that Baylor, it's still a good team, loses to Auburn that way, and then goes into the Big 12 and does really well in the Big 12. And then they're going to say, see, look, the Big 12 is not that good. Baylor lost to Auburn, blah, blah, blah. Even though, you'll have a Kentucky beating Georgia or whatever, but that's a tough loss versus, because I don't know. The logic there, they seem to have it both ways, but I do see that being used against us. That was an important game. And then Colorado against Georgia Tech. Again, it was at home and losing to Georgia Tech, who is supposed to be an improved team, but does not give you a lot of confidence. And I already saw people calling for a change of quarterback after that game. And, honestly, I don't blame them. I don't blame them at all. I was out, but I was on my phone catching a bit of that game. And I don't blame them. It did not look super impressive. Apparently early on in the game, the defense looked really good, but really a bummer there. Looking at some of these others, another bummer, Cincinnati, Nebraska, but the score was closer than the game felt for most of the game. Nebraska really felt like they were in control. So I give Cincy credit for getting back in that and making it a game. That one sucks, but Cincy doesn't have high expectations this year. Nebraska does. So I don't know. That one didn't hurt as bad as some of those others from last night. Houston, good job. Oklahoma State. Hey, we saw what happened with Kansas State tonight, and I'll get to them in a second. So people were saying, hey, that's not that impressive. And you know what? You're getting a win, and it was a comfortable enough win. UCF struggled a little bit. Made it past Jacksonville State, but again, at least they got the win. But I don't think anyone has high expectations for UCF. Here's the week 0 games. Kansas looking solid there. Farmageddon, great game. I do not love rivalries coming on the first game of the season. I don't love it not being held on campus. And that definitely has big implications for the conference going forward. I think both of those two teams, despite what we've saw from Kansas State tonight, could be in the running for making to the conference championship later in the season. Obviously, this win for Iowa State puts them over Kansas State. Now, I like Kansas State. I don't like Iowa State, so I was rooting for them. But considering we have ISU on our schedule, it's probably better for BYU in the long run there. Let's see. Today, West Virginia winning comfortable. Iowa State winning comfortably against, any of those 4 Dakota schools are always good. Not a lot of incentive to play good FCS teams. I know I don't like the FCS games, and I applaud them for taking on these good teams, which are also somewhat regional. But that just sets you up because these are talented teams that potentially you could lose, and everyone's still going to say, yeah, but it was FCS. It doesn't matter that they're good FCS. So you don't really get extra credits. It doesn't really help your perception at all. So it's really just kind of a lose-lose. And we saw Kansas State, give them credit for the way they were able to pull out that victory at the end, but it really makes you wonder why they were in that situation in the first place. And then BYU, Portland State, 69-0. Nice. So very good there. And then we've got Utah going up against UCLA. Arizona, hey, they're looking better than Stanford did against Hawaii. And ASU, I guess it's still halfway through the second, but I think they were up, 14. Okay. I was going to say, I thought they were up 14-0. Give them a chance to pull away, but it's still relatively early. So we'll see. A lot of action still to happen there in the Big 12 tonight. But let's go back to it. 1-2. Thanks for commenting. Love to get everybody involved. It says, I think that Cody Hagan stood out a lot. Yeah, and it felt like they were doing a lot to get him involved. Excited to see what he brings. We've been hearing about him, so excited to see him in action. And then you say Big 12 now 0-1 versus SEC, 0-1 versus ACC, and 0-1 versus Big 10. Yeah, but Utah opening strong at UCLA. So I don't have it up. I try to pull it up, but wouldn't be able to. I can't multitask anyway. So I'll catch that after this live stream. I do think Utah, that's my prediction, that they come away with the victory against UCLA. So we'll see. But yeah, it doesn't look good. The Big 12 is not off to a great start perception-wise, I think, with the way things have gone so far. Kansas has looked good, but again, not super tough competition. But as we've shown, that doesn't always matter, that you can go up against not really tough competition and come out behind on that, or at least just not looking good. And so Kansas is looking solid. And also one of the games I haven't talked about yet is yet to be played. Yeah, TCU at North Carolina. I do think, and I hope for the sake of the conference, TCU can come out and spoil Bill Belichick's debut. I think he will. Teams that go through that much transition, hit the portal a lot, I don't have a lot of confidence in that. But, he's obviously a legendary coach. And so you can't just write it off and have to expect that he's probably brought in a lot of talent and he knows how to coach guys and get the most out of them. I just think TCU is kind of a sneaky, not so sneaky, because a lot of people have them as a dark horse pick in the league, which really kind of makes them not really a dark horse pick. But I think they can go in there and win that one. And I hope to see that Monday night. So yeah, a lot of good action here. Let's see some other things from around college football. I thought let's go to some of the big matchups. We saw Alabama lose to Florida State, and I just think, everyone's gonna be like, Florida State's back, which is maybe true. I mean, I love that they had a revenge game for the time that Alabama took their spot in the playoff. I just don't know how much it tells us at this point about Florida State. I would stop. I wouldn't you get too far ahead of yourself. Remember, you had a very bad season last year and not put too much stock into beating this Alabama team that not sure who they are right now. And they're certainly not the Alabama of old. So I don't know, but love seeing Bama struggle. I mean, I've never made it a habit to root for Florida State, but nonetheless, love to see Bama struggle. And let's see here. Speaking of Bama, love this sign. We want Bama. Cross it out in Florida State. Also, I'll be going to the ECU game, so please let me know in the comments any sign ideas. Taking a nephew will be there with me. Sometimes, it's hard to get adults on there, but kids holding signs, they love that. They eat that up. So let me know some sign ideas for him to hold up. Obviously, a lot of bear-related ones I think we can put on there for the ECU game. But let's see what else we have here. I guess I could just kind of scroll through all these tweets. Johnny Linehan, my expectations for the season have gone up significantly, and I was already expected an undefeated natty. So, yeah, I think he Johnny Linehan has the blue goggles on. I'm with him. I'm not really thinking undefeated natty. Obviously, he's joking around here, but yeah, this game definitely leaves you feeling good. And here's the Will Ferrin record-setting kick. I forgot I had this queued up, but look at that. I mean, it had a little bit more distance on it too. So what a kick. And oh yeah, ended up finding better footage of this one. So anyway, we were talking about the Big 12 going around at Kansas State. Yeah, it has been a long season, and you're only in week one, but two games in, not going great for Kansas State fans. So thought this one was funny from John Kurtz. Let's see here. got the Hype Train podcast, and I thought this was funny. Obviously, as BYU just keeps scoring, you just want more and more, and it's true. Like I hate running up score against the little guy, but you want to see your players do well, and it was fun. That was in a game that's not competitive, you want to see that. You want to keep seeing more and more. So good on them. But Jason Shepard shared Bear Bachmeier's first half stats, and pretty good. Almost 100 yards, 3 touchdowns, 5 rushes for 32 yards, and then 2 touchdowns rushing. So accounting for 5 of the touchdowns for the team. And again, looking poised. One of the things I was disappointed to see Bear not come in the third quarter. I would have liked to have seen him get another drive in, maybe the whole third quarter. Again, I know you don't want to risk getting him injured, and they want to get other guys playing time, which I applaud. I think they also need to get as many reps, but when you just want to get him those reps now, make up for lost time and help him gain that experience. So I was a little bummed by that, but I get the decision and not surprised either. Joey, so I don't know if anyone saw this. This is kind of reminiscent of the Kansas State, what Bill Snyder, whatever that account was with the Taco Bell. We've got Gary Fatterson saying, if Bear Bachmeier throws 20 touchdowns, he won't. I will read the Book of Mormon. So Joe Wheat's already trying to size him up for his jumpsuit. Let's not get that far ahead, but you got to feel good with those stats that, again, in half. Now, again, only Portland State. We'll see how the rest of the season goes. It's going to be a long season, but it's a good start all the way. And then Ames Flames. I love this one. This guy is all of us looking at Chase Roberts. I mean, Chase, again, feel like there are a couple missed opportunities with him tonight, but I expect him to have a monster season. And if nothing else, the way that he can get defenses. He just has that gravity to pull them towards him. It's going to make life easier on other guys. And then also the block that he set for that LJ Martin run was really impressive. So he's in there. He's playing his role and he gets it. So I love that. Oh yeah, I had this up earlier. Is that Jake Retzlaff? I mean, that does not look like him. It looks like they got somebody else in there and put a number 12 on him, but whatever. Nonetheless, Jake had a good game. Interesting Cougar stats. This was, I can't remember. I think BYU might have been up like 28-0 at this point, maybe just 21-0. It was the time of possession, definitely in favor of Portland State, which was an interesting one. BYU was at the point where they were scoring fast. Also, there was the special teams, which switched that drastically. I think afterwards, the final, what is the final? We could see the team stats. Should be in here. Time of possession. Yeah. So that definitely switched, especially as we got later in the game and just kept running. Also, they stopped running because they were so far down and they were just throwing the whole time. And so their time of possession went down drastically too. But that was an interesting and maybe not the favorite stat you'd want to see early on. But Wilson F. Ball calling out the double standard of a 0-0 game. Good defense between Texas and Ohio State. Obviously, when it's their big brands, they'll push it however they want. You say if this were a Big 12 game, probably be pitched a little differently. Some BYU dude. So excited for Bama to drop all the way from number 8 to number 9 next week. So true. So true. And then for whatever reason, and I think AJ DeBonsa shared this and reposted this, but I love that this hit is still making the round, still being watched. This one, I mean, I'm pretty sure that dude is still on the field there today. So love that. One of my all-time favorite plays. But, apparently Kansas State was getting booed on their way to the locker room at halftime when they were down to North Dakota, as they should be. So anyway, pretty awesome day. Well, just college football's back. That's really where I'm at. Awesome day for BYU. Just exciting way to start the season. Good to be back in it. Watching college football. The air is just a little bit crisper. It's feeling like fall, and we've got college football back in our lives. We have BYU suiting up, playing, taking the field, and I am loving it. All right. And Spencer Duncan, what's up, man? Thanks for joining in and hopping in the chat with us. Says, yes, but did you cheer for Ohio State? No, I did not cheer for Ohio State. So I also do not make it a habit to root for Texas, although I do like Sark, obviously. No, I did not. I would root for anybody, including Utah, over Ohio State, except in the Rose Bowl. I was very conflicted in that game. And it ended up being the worst of both worlds because it's still a close game. So in some ways, it's a moral victory. But I love that we can continue to make fun of Utah for having 0 Rose Bowl wins. So that one was very conflicting. But yeah, no, I grew up in Michigan, never root for Ohio State. So thanks for bringing that up. Would have loved to have seen them lose today. All right. 1-2. Perhaps some special plays ahead with both Bear and Hillstead in the backfield. Confuse the defense. Bear could run, catch, or throw. Just a thought. I would not put it past him. You know that A-Rod likes to get creative. I could see him doing something like that at the right moment, at the right time. Obviously, you don't want to put Bear in too many situations where he's going to be taking a lot of hits, but he'll be doing that as quarterback anyway. So would love to see him mix it up a little bit and get all these other guys involved. So I don't know. I think we will see lots of creativity in the way that he handled it today. I think he looks poised in there and ready to handle it. Sometimes those trick plays come out, and when they don't work out, they just look, okay, maybe we weren't quite ready for that one. But today they pulled that off really well. So yeah, I expect we'll be seeing some more throughout the season. So just trying to think now back to the game. I think we covered most of the big highlights. Really excited. I'm excited to go back and rewatch all these highlights, see all these guys, see how this team performs and operates together, what kinds of plays and other things that stand out to me. But just really excited that Bear was able to come out again. Yes, we're talking about against Portland State, but still to come out looking poised and ready for the moment. And this is exactly what you want. We can't help it. This is the schedule we have. And we have a freshman quarterback, true freshman quarterback, and this is exactly what we want. And couldn't really ask much more of him than what we got today. So we can all bear witness of the first time Bear Bachmeier took the field for BYU and really, I think, impressed and left Cougar fans putting on the blue goggles for this upcoming season. But nonetheless, thank you all for joining me. I think I'm going to sign off now, but thanks for joining, hopping in the chat. Let's get one more from 1-2. It says Tiger looked to have good vision, but not the speed. Not many plays to base that on, so we'll see. Yeah, we go back and watch a little bit as I did, and I'm sure many people did, watching some of his footage from Stanford. We'll see what he's able to do. I think they'll definitely try to get him involved there in the special teams, and I think we'll see him a bit at receiver too. So I don't know. I don't know enough about him. Yeah, he wasn't able to get away on that, I guess, punt return. But I don't know. Like you said, small sample size. So we'll see. I'm excited for him. I think it'll be fun. The storyline between him and Bear, and see if we can't get that brother to brother connection throughout the season. But thank you all for joining. What a fun way to usher in a new era of BYU football with Bear Bachmeier and just to start the season back. Like I said, I'm just happy college football's back, and we had it Thursday, Friday, had it tonight. There will be college football Sunday night and Monday, and then we'll be back at it again that following Thursday. So I love this. My wife is not a big fan, but I am enjoying it and soaking it all in. Probably shouldn't use the word soaking, that gets used against us, but nonetheless, appreciate you joining us. Please be sure to like, subscribe, join us on Monday nights as we go and break down the whole thing a little bit more, the game a little bit more, and then also look ahead to the following week. And appreciate it. And as always, go Cougs.